Welcome, ladies and gents, to Timeout Episode 5, Cloud9 versus Virtus Pro on Cash. Will be the subject of our analysis. I say our, and as you can see, Threat's lovely face on the screen there. He is going to be joining me, DDK, for this analysis. And it was a lot of fun, so I hope we get to do more together. I know that he wants to do more together as well. And generally, this will be about testing the format. It's a bit of a pilot episode, so we hope you guys enjoy it. And please let us know what you think. Well, without further ado, it's time to jump into the pistol. Alright, so...
Are they really doing a fake on Cash?
I don't know. I'm starting to see a lot of fakes in top-level play, and I'm always really surprised because it's rare that it ever really works to get a plant, and you just weaken your attack by doing it. So it seems like a questionable thing.
Yeah, the strongest thing with a fake is actually the mind games, because if you never fake, they will always be able to just go for the fast rotation because they know you never fake, but you just keep your opponent on keep them guessing.
So it's they only made a little bit of presence towards A. They didn't actually even really show anything. So now goes the reposition. So it actually seemed like it worked. Virtus Pro have actually put quite a few players towards A. So they're really afraid of A at the moment. It's kind of surprising that they had no idea about that. But I guess at the same time, you can't really go for these plays where you... I don't know, go for information on the pistol round because you don't have the nades, and it's so risky that you'll just instantly lose somebody on a pistol round.
Yeah.
So you can't even, you got to gamble, I guess.
Yeah, to see the pistol in general in CS:GO is really, really tough, considering the Glocks are so strong.
It is quite an interesting point actually, considering how CT sided the game tends to be. Overall, it is kind of a nice way to kind of balance things out a little bit.
Yeah, the way the B site looks at this map, you can't I'm gonna pause now on freestyle, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, and that's something we should talk about. There's no good positions. You can stand on the B site, but you can't escape anywhere, and you're there's no real good angle you can take towards the vent room. Plus, you can't come from spawn or upper there because there's just one smoke each, and you're completely fucked. So, a lot of teams they just go for maybe the three best spawns, just push B storage to get the information, or just try to go for the retake. Because what Virtus did there, leave one guy at B, he can do absolutely nothing, and we saw that he just instantly died.
Yeah, it seems kind of tough to actually handle those situations, especially as I don't understand though. Why do you think Virtus Pro actually decided to put so many players towards A? Because they left B incredibly open, and they didn't see nearly enough. Do you think that was just a plain gamble?
Yeah, it might be they might have been talking to another team that practiced against Cloud9, which said they went to A. Because, as you said earlier, you just kind of have to gamble not only on this CT pistol, but on most CT pistols, because this is just too hard. Because you there's no good angle you can stand. You're not gonna get more. Even if you get one, it's a good trade for the T's. And to get two frags close combat with the silence USP versus Cloud9 where they're jumping around, it's not easy.
The weird thing as well is that usually you'd expect, if a team was going to gamble as CT on the pistol for a site, that usually it's going to be the site that's much harder to retake, because in that sense they're saying, okay, well, if they do attack this, well, it is kind of okay to retake the other site if we just play together. So that's fine that we leave that site kind of at risk. But maybe what happened here was Cloud9 played the kind of the mind game there, because if we look at Cash, for example, not Cash, sorry, Mirage is a really good example to look at pistols. You got one site that's really closed, close to everything's close angles, and it's kind of hard to get into, through kitchen into the site, and even through short can be difficult sometimes. And then you got A, which is so open. A on this site is actually quite open as well. It's if they had more of a presence towards mid and B, so they could quickly support through vents and everything like that, and actually tried to commit some people on B, they'd still be fine to go for a retake on A, especially against the Glocks, because they get some longer ranges. So that seems to be another factor at play as well.
Yeah, you have actually a really good point here. Like, I might say this a lot when we do this, but like, if I were a game leader in a team playing now, I would probably just go for maybe not like a pure B stack, but maybe have one guy peeking B, maybe like even 3 guys mid, like super close to vents. So like, if you spot someone B, you have like 4 people B immediately. Plus, if they go A, you just go for the retakes, and you probably like have 2 guys who will buy kits and 1 smoke, and you can just go for the smoke diffuse on A if they try to push there. Seems like a much better options than what Virtus though did here.
I mean, it's also another thing about this map, just this map in general, is one of the cool things about it is the fact that you have, like, as a bonus to having a lot of mid presence, it like gives you huge access to attacking or defending, retaking B, like really easily, and it also allows you to really easily reinforce the A side of things as well quite quickly. And we saw just Virtus like kind of gave up on middle completely here, and that always feels really dangerous to me, because not only does it create the situation where they can't really effectively have the best chance to kind of safely get information of what's going on, but also it means that if B is attacked, like they have no way to really stop a really strong afterplant setup with the Glocks. And because they won't have any control towards events, because usually like if they do get through really fast, at least like if you're quite close as the CTs, you can kind of shut down the vent area, or have an ability, at least a chance to do that. But they just have no chance if Cloud9 hit B here, it feels like, unless they get really lucky.
Yeah, you can't let the terrorists get into positions when they have many players alive. When they plant, then you're like screwed, especially versus a good team.
So I guess the kind of the summary of what we could learn from this here is that on the pistol for CT, like it's much easier to go for more of a B and mid presence and have a successful round against the T's than it is to try to like kind of gamble a stack on A when you don't have the information. Because we saw that at the start, Cloud9 didn't really give any info. So and we kind of like brought the point up as well. Like it's not really safe for Virtus Pro to go and find information because they don't have grenades to really help them safely get into positions that are aggressive enough that where they won't be risking their lives. So they won't know what's going to happen. So you got to play in the dark. So I guess I think we both kind of agree there. Like more B in mid presence as if you don't know what's going to go on for the T players.
Yeah, and I think that actually goes for the weapon rounds as well. Like the obvious best position on this map is playing in the vents. Like it's mostly because you're so close to everything. Like you can just drop down and you're at B. You can you obviously control middle and you can go to A really fast. It doesn't take more than like 5 seconds or something.
All right, so I think that like I actually feel like we covered that round pretty well. I actually feel like I learned something there, so that's really nice. Okay, I'm ready to go into the next round. How about you?
Yeah, I'm at 7 seconds.
Okay, let me just catch up real quick. Okay, all right, 3, 2, 1, and go.
And they're going for the scout buy, which it's an obvious choice. Like I know we've been talking about this like a lot before, that it's always best to go for the force buy on the second round, the CT. Like the only time you don't want to buy full is if you're like going for an op at a really important position. But I think Virtus Pro is doing the right thing. Like you're gonna at least kill 2 or 3 people, which makes this investment worth it.
It's just so good. I mean, the scout, if you get a tag, that the guy that you tagged is just gonna die if he gets into a fight against these pistols. They're so good. If it's like a CZ, of course he's gonna die. They don't even have to try to like headshot you. Of course he's gonna die. If it's like a deagle, probably gonna die as well. Like F57, if you know, it's just makes life really awkward. And we've seen that the best way to try to counter this is to try to get on top of a site really quickly, and it does it like Cloud9 are like approaching it in that way. They're just kind of stacking towards A. I think that's actually really smart, because there's too many times when I see like a team go for the anti-eco, start spreading out and like going for picks. It's just like against this, there's going to be scouts. I mean, or at least like a CZ.
Yeah, the thing is that's just like the 1.6 mentality. When you In 1.6, the ecos were so weak that you always wanted to win them like flawlessly on the anti-eco, that is. So you try to spread out, like keep everything cool, like control every area on the map. But like in this game, you should just take it as a weapon round, because the scouts and CZ is like it's just so strong. And this is one of those full eco rounds here from Virtus, but I can see them kind of interesting, because it's nice to see how top teams, like, of course they're just going for the economic damage and like how they go about that. And the Virtus is just spreading out right now, which seems really stupid, to be honest. Like, you always want to go for the stack on these ecos, because just having USPs and P2000s, no armor, no nades, you're like, there's no way you're gonna win the round. You're just looking for that like 2 kills.
And if we go into like hypotheticals as well, I think for a lot of people it's like very difficult for them to necessarily know what they need to do, because they don't understand like they don't understand what the objective is in a pistol round, because obviously like you're not looking at it as if you're going to win the round. I mean, that you'd have to be pretty cocky. I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing to imagine, that you could win just a full eco against rifles and stuff. So it's got to be about like people figuring out or understanding in their game, okay, what is the actual objective? So if you put forth like, okay, it's actually you just want to get like 2 frags or something, and then that's a good objective. You remove some weapons. Maybe it's like not the biggest hit to their economy. They're still making some money. They're still making like 5-6k from the round win, even if after they rebuy for those 2 people, like a full rebuys. So they're still coming up with a win, but you slow it down. So you slow them down a little bit. And I think that's like a really good objective to aspire to, like 2 kills. So if we pause, so your perspective is, okay, to get those 2 kills you want to stack now, and you said that's like something you should do like every time. Like what are some like good variations do you think on this map as far as getting those 2 frags goes? Just a stack, or maybe a rush? Like how can this work for you, do you think?
It's actually like one of those rounds where it's actually might be worth it to buy a decoy. Like, let's say you have a 4-man stack and you have one guy at the other side, you might be able to buy a decoy just to like make it sound like there's more people there, just like show his presence on the other side of the map, but not make it too obvious at the same time. But yeah, you just like, of course it's a risk. They might not go into your stack, but like if they don't go into your stack, you can always like go around the bomb site when the bomb is going to go off, and you might be able to get 2 picks there. So I always want to go for those 2 frags at least, because hitting 1 frag is not that big of a deal, but 2 frags is like that critical point. Like 2 people dying, losing all their gear, and they might, or usually they are forced to get a drop the next round, which means 2 more guys drops an AK for them, which basically means if they lose the coming round, they will have 4 people who will be low on money. Like, compare that to 1 guy dying, then you only need to drop 1, and there's only 2 guys having low money. So yeah, really important to go for those 2 to 3 or 2 to 5 frags. So the first weapon round here. Let's see if they go for
rifles.
3 guys going mid. I really like this from Virtus Pro, because you're so close to all the other places on the map. It doesn't really make sense to be A or B that early in the round, because you have the time to rotate.
And something I've noticed a lot of teams doing who put this strategy forward is that they have the guys who push initially for the information, and they fall back into safer positions. But we can see that Virtus Pro is actually usually quite comfortable in actually just sticking 3 people deep in mid. And we saw Snacks like go from mid to the vents, and as to try to reinforce it. But what Virtus Pro normally do as well is they like to put Snacks either in the vents from mid side, or they do it from a boost from the vents. I'm not sure why they choose one or the other, but that's usually the trend for like Snacks, and he's often like the guy that ties around together, as we already talked about how important that position is. And we can see how kind of strong it was. That was like just a pretty fast push straight into B with a lot of firepower, and Virtus Pro are able to have like a man advantage here, and they should never lose from this 2 versus 1 position.
Yeah, that like a headshot position with the BL is in now, it's just too strong, and there he goes down. And I actually want to talk about Neo's way of defending B there, because it was really interesting. At first glance, it kind of looked it's bad because he like most players they smoke off towards B storage, like try to aim in the smoke, but like I guess Neo has played B enough that he notices that like he throw that smoke, and then if they go for the B push, they just like might throw a good flash through the smoke, which just makes him blind. He will go up site, and then he's stuck on site, and if he goes down, the round is basically over. What Neo did there instead was he didn't throw any nades, he saved his smoke, played defensive on the site like right away. Cloud9 went for the fast B play, and the thing Neo can do there, he can just throw a defensive smoke on the site, which, like, the point of that smoke is just to buy a lot of time, because obviously, like, if you're pushing up the B site and there's a smoke on the site, and you know Neo is on the other side, it's gonna be really, really tough. And that's, like, all you want to do, basically, when you defend B, is just buy time. So, like, I was kind of shocked first that he didn't throw the smoke towards B storage, but it was a really smart play there from Neo.
Then you see how the grand plan actually comes to fruition. Yeah, that was really nice. I just replayed that. It does look quite noobish almost, a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that looks so noobish. Well, he's just standing on the side right away, but it's like, I understand what he did.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And the thing as well to think about is the entire ethos of the play, because like I mentioned previously, and we were talking about like the decision between having Snacks go into the vent room and them having like the ability to hold vent and boost Snacks into the vents versus pushing Snacks down middle and then having him go to be able to go from middle to B. So obviously they have like different focuses there of where Snacks can reinforce. But in that situation, it's as a spot where Neo can actually be like, okay, I can smoke off here on the site and just delay. I know that Snacks is coming like really quick behind them. Like I know that there is going to be a guy really fast who's kind of in a CT connector who can be really fast to help me. And this smoke is definitely going to buy the time. Like you can see how it all ties together from all the ways that they're playing their positions, which is now actually like really, really awesome now that I think about it.
Yeah. If you played Cash, you know that if you go B, the worst feeling in the world is like the guy on site just he's just alive. He never dies. And at the same time, Cetus takes over Ventrum. Then you're fucked. Like, there's nothing you can do. You have just too many angles to check. You hear the vent pop. You know there's one guy on site. You hear guys rotating from C to spawn. It's just really, really smart play from Virtus. And as you said, like if Snacks will go B another round, I actually think they will play more like standard, like smoking off B storage. But yeah, they really thought that round through. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's just actually this is a brilliant round from Virtus Pro. Actually, I really, really like this. Okay, so we do have Virtus Pro, they lost 3 players in that round, so their money's still going to be a little bit sketchy. And because the bomb went down and Cloud9 been winning rounds, actually the bomb didn't go down. Sorry, because Cloud9 have been winning rounds, rather they have actually a full buy here, so it's definitely like one of those spots for CTs where it's actually still like really scary. And we're seeing that play that you're talking about.
They're doing the same thing now. Yeah, and they have 2B now. Virtus Pro and Neo. Or Snacks and Neo.
And the smoke placement is like really, really key right now. But what they're doing behind the smoke is also like something to put the attention to. That they're not actually like as aggressive behind the smoke as they could be. They could be in the vent room, which I think is a more aggressive position to hold than where they are right now. Because where they are right now, Neo and Snacks, they can always fall back. But in the vent room, it's like impossible to fall back.
Yeah, you can get stuck pushed in the angle there from the window room. And it looks like Cloud9 was going for the full B push, but when they saw that Virtus smoked it off, they just went back. No, Snacks shouldn't have stayed there when the smoke faded.
So this feels like one of those situations where like you say, it's like it's quite literally like it's plan B right now, because they weren't able to get their push onto B, which is something that they should have predicted. Okay, they'll probably smoke it off, especially if they've watched Virtus play. I mean, it's not something that they don't do. It's like very common in their playbook. So I'm surprised that Cloud9 went for kind of an uninspired push for A main. They didn't really mess with middle or anything like that to support the push through to A, but they're still getting the kills anyway. So it's a surprising one to me. Usually it's like quite difficult once the CTs know you're there to actually get out of A main.
Yeah, I agree, and like to be honest, that was actually a poor play from Cloud9. They obviously called to go for the B, like walk B, since Neo didn't smoke the round before. So they're not smoking B. We should just walk B. But now Virtus Pro used their other setup where they have snacks B, so they smoked B storage. And they was like, oh fuck, they smoked it. And they were like standing in the window room, just like spamming through the smoke or whatever. I don't think they did like any damage whatsoever. Sure, they did get snacks, but the way they did it was like 3 guys rotated back to A main, just kind of tried to walk out with the 2 guys standing like still at B.
It almost seems
they should have gone. They should have gone back all 5 there. Like it, I don't even think they should have left 1 there in B storage.
It almost feels as if they felt like they're in a position where they kept or like had a maybe even. How to put it? It felt like they think in this situation, after putting all the presence and pressure on B, that they kept like fewer players on A, and the players who could rotate to A are going to be further away than normal because they're more worried about the threat on B is higher than it is on A. It almost felt like that was the philosophy behind them wanting to just walk A, because if they start throwing nades or trying to take mid, all of a sudden Virtus Pro are going to be repositioning. And so like walking A might make sense with a few players to keep, and whilst they have a couple keeping threat on B, if they think that Virtus has like quite a heavy mid setup, then it can maybe make sense. But that could be the call or the idea behind what Cloud9 were doing.
Yeah, probably. But it's just the threat is too little when you only have 3 players going A main. So, like, sure, they might have put extra guys towards mid and B, but you're just too few players going A. You're gonna lose some players, you're probably gonna lose 2 players, which means you only have 1 left. And the other guys are at the other side of the map. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we actually saw that exact situation because Cloud9 with their 3 players, they managed to, I'm just gonna, speeding up to it now, they go for the peak, and they perfectly do it. They have the trade frag situation going on, and that's exactly what happens. It's like as it was supposed to. 1 guy dies, 2 peaks, and the other guy gets the frag, and then he dies, and then you got, as you said, you got the 1 guy left. And this is something that they should be aware of is going to happen. This should be happening every single time, and in every time you run this scenario, you should have that 1 guy, you should have nothing just left alive there with the bomb. And he may not even be on the site. And even if he is on the site, on the entry, you lose the guys. So nothing can't necessarily have a position to even defend from or even easily plant from unless you're relying on execution here. Like you're relying on instead of like good strategic play, you're relying on better execution than your opponents. Which to me, I mean, I never like to take that approach, because I want to get the consistency. I mean, you never know if someone's going to hit a shot or not. I mean, it's just...
I would dare to say that Cloud9 would agree that was a big mistake from them. Like, it didn't really make any sense to go back on the 3 people there. It's just... Like, those things happen, though. Like, when your plan A doesn't work and you really don't have a, like, set plan B, it's easy that things will get chaotic. Like... Let's rotate back A, and we're gonna stay here and do this, and then everything falls apart.
Okay, so yeah, awkward force buy, and Virtus still keeping themselves. I mean, they're still losing quite a few players, so then they don't have any money still.
Yeah, I wonder what Senf is thinking now. They tried B a lot. Let's see if they try to force them. They're trying to go for the fast boost here mid, and I really like going for like a lot of people at the boost. They're going for actually 3 people here. Should have waited for each other.
Yeah, Shroud able to get 1 frag back, but that's really not enough. I mean, if we go back and look at... I'm just going to pause and go back to the start of the round. So that we can just like re-look at that boost, because obviously that's where the round basically... It's like a really important round as well. Like they forced a buy.
They just threw that away.
And... They forced a buy, and on the boost situation, they misplayed it, and they lost way too many players. I mean, like you're saying, okay, you like the option to go for quite a lot boost. Where did it go wrong, or what should they have done in this situation?
Well, the biggest mistake was that the first guy just ran out immediately, because they should know the timings. Like if you boost a lot of people and the same guy, like if you boost like two right next to each other, you can do it because then you get up at the same time. But you always want to go for the revenge frag, and you could obviously see that Pasha could get the frag on to boost, and then he can just fall back in the smoke. What they can do is like you boost two people, and they can like sit right next to each other there on the like small ramp on the boost, and then they like go out at the same time. Like the first guy will go out far, and the other guy can just strafe out. And sure, Pasha might been able to get one, but they sure would have gotten the revenge frag, so it would have been a 1-for-1 instead just 1-for-0.
I mean, I like the thinking behind the choice to go for the boost as well and middle, because after thinking about it for a few moments, they know that the money is going to be so low on Virtus, and just knowing Virtus generally, there won't be an AWP. They can be 100% sure that there won't be an AWP in middle, and that actually does like really make the boost pretty good, because if the CTs are trying to rush forwards, then they can shut down the T kind of main area. They can shut that down pretty easily by pre-flashing it, all that kind of stuff. But the way the timing works out for the guys to just get up on the boost, if you get like lows up on the boost straight away, the AKs versus M4s, you should actually not be at a numbers disadvantage if you do it right, like you said. And because there's no AWP in play, they actually should have an advantage, like a tangible advantage on the picks. So yeah, I think it's like the perfect play.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm sure that Semphis was thinking that exact same thing. And like being an in-game leader, like back in the days, this was one of the like most important factors with the money system, like knowing if they would have been able to buy an AWP or not, because what they did there would have obviously been really bad if Pasha would have been standing there with an AWP. But so yeah, you're absolutely right. The only like error they did was that they didn't like push at the same time. And they might have been able, like they should pressure some through like mid main as well. Like just throw some nades or something.
It's really nice. I love the idea. It's the right call, but it's like a mis-execution. It's just one of those things, I guess, for Cloud9. Yeah, and it's unfortunate too, because I mean, if we look at the last two rounds, they had two chances to actually like take like major control of the match. They had two really good chances to do that, because Virtus have been constantly really low on money. But winning this round, only losing 2 players, obviously it's going to start putting them in a pretty good situation, as they now are going to get like another round probably, because there's no buy for Cloud9 in the next round. And on top of that, Virtus, yeah, that should put Virtus at around, if they don't lose anybody, something around like 6k for everybody, something around that, 6-7k for everybody.
Which means Pasha will get an AWP, which means the boost will be like a lot weaker for the teeth.
And they lose a big chance of strategies that can work more effectively against. I actually generally think like if they're wanting to take rounds, they do need to keep the AWP away from Virtus Pro. Like it's going to just be easier. There's just more things that they can do. So it definitely is. I guess that's an interesting point actually that I don't think gets talked about very much, is the kind of chance that you have to take rounds versus the different setups that are coming out of a team. I mean, this is like very obvious on Dust 2 against CTs. Obviously, like there's gonna be spots where the CTs just can't buy like 2 AWPs, and 2 AWPs like makes a really huge difference about like what works. You have to change your game completely as the Ts if there's like 2 AWPs or even 1 AWP in play, and that's very true on Cash as well, because you can, as soon as you start like buying the AWP guy and having the AWP on like B, like you can just do B with one guy, and then you can have an AWP on A or middle, and then there's so many setups that you can have that are just like really good. And that restricts the play for the T's so much. Yeah, and it's like harder to work around.
Yeah, if they go for like the double AWP, and you have, let's say you have like 3,700 as T, like in that situation, if you know they have AWPs, you should go for the Galil and the smoke. If you know they cannot afford AWPs, you should go for the AK armor. It's just like you really need the smokes, and that's also like an example where you make different decisions depending on the opponent's weapons.
Okay, so we're gonna have the eco situation for Cloud9, and I mean, actually, so there is some interesting things at play here. I mean, if you look at their money, I think they've lost 2 in a row. I think that was. So if they lose this one, that's gonna be 2,300, 2,400. I can't remember what the third round in a row is, but something around like 23, 2,400. So they're gonna be on quite a lot of money if they don't buy anything at all. If they don't like. If Semphis and Nothing, who have 2,400, they got the least amount of cash. They're gonna be on 4,800 regardless of what happens. So, and Sean Garris will definitely be able to buy an AWP. So, and like even if he buys like a pistol and stuff like that. So, like, what is the ethos behind a round like this? Because if they buy let's say CZs and maybe some nades, they can still buy the next round as well. But it's going to be just AKs and armor. They won't be able to afford AWPs, and the nades will be like a bit more limited. So how do you like what do you prefer? Do you prefer waiting for like the real full buy? Do you think the AWP on Sean Garris is like necessary, or do you think that they can get away with having maybe the chance to win 2 rounds by investing in this one with a CZ and grenades or something?
I would actually go for buying CZs, like mostly because the cities on this map, if their economy get out of hand, they will be able to buy AWPs, even like auto snipers. It will just get too tough. So like buy like a smart buy. You don't have to buy too much. Maybe like 3 people buying CZ, someone buys some nades, and you try to just like really utilize those nades with the CZs as well as you can. Not to try to win the round, but to just like get 2 or 3 kills. Because if we look at Virtus.pro's money, they're not gonna buy an AWP now, and I actually think like Pasha is thinking like, should I buy this round, like get a drop, or maybe I should just go for the pistol so I can buy AWP next round. Probably he's just gonna get a drop and assume that someone will die and he will buy an AWP next round.
Yeah, I really like that idea of keeping maybe Sean Garris on like Nothing, so he can definitely afford an AWP, and then maybe have a couple players who gets a couple nades with their CZ, or even a P250. Like the P250 is like really good. Like you don't even need to, like, the difference between the P250 and a CZ is I know that people generally think that the CZ is really overpowered, because it is. But in a situation like this where your goal is not to like make loads of kills, but it is just to invest so that you can have a strong opportunity to make some kills. It's about like finding a situation, like putting yourself in a situation to get a frag. And I actually think that the difference between a P250 and a CZ is sometimes actually very, very, like, it's not even worth that 200 extra bucks. You could do the same amount of damage with the P250. So like if you're able to, like, let's say on Hiko or somebody, like he buys with his 2700, he can buy a CZ, go down to like 2200, and then like Semphis, who's on 2400, can buy a P250 and still be able to afford like a nade and stuff like that. That actually creates a situation where the P250 is as good as the CZ, because they're able to get, like, let's say, more position because of the nades and so on. Because this is like, if we're talking about like really optimizing the buys, I feel like people don't use P250s enough, because it can do the same job in some situations.
Well, it is really map dependent. Like in some situations, the CZ is just so superior. Like, let's say you go out Squeak on this map, like, and someone is on site, then it's like the obvious choice is the CZ. But I can understand what you mean. Like, let's say you go out like a main and you just go for a P250 and flash. It might like even be better than just having a CZ, because you can just like flash yourself out, maybe get to forklift, just gain some ground, and from there you might be able to get at least one frag.
Exactly. Like if you swap the, because that's actually a really good, really nice situation to think about, because like both of us can also really understand the pop flash onto forklift rush, like solo, like with because we both, I copied it off of you because you would do it all the time. But for the people listening to this, there's a very easy pop flash, and I can just record it and then play it behind myself talking here. Very easy pop flash where it like will flash the guy who's on forklift, and if that flash hits, then because you have to run in with your back towards forklift, But if that flash hits and that guy gets blind, whether you have the P250 or the CZ, you're getting a kill. But the difference between having a CZ and versus a P250 and flash in that situation means that you can actually get into that position to make the kill. Whereas if you don't have the flash, then you can't do that. So there are some spots, I think, where if you like really want to optimize stuff, I feel like teams could gain edges, and the professional level is all about like these tiny edges and like thinking about it. Because like you said, like in my example, like okay, Hiko and Shroud could be the guys that get the CZs, and then Semphis and Nothing can be the guys that get a P250 and a flash each.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you got like some interesting things to work with and some edges to find where, you know, because a lot of people are like, oh, you know, so black and white, so let's just get a CZ because it just kills everything. Well, I mean, on the professional level is very different. Like these players are going to be taking good positions. They're going to be able to like have enough intuition into the game to understand like what you're trying to do. So you need to like find as many edges as you can.
Yeah, I agree. Like obviously you would have want both a CZ and a flash, but you don't. Like maybe you don't have enough money. So yeah, let's see what they do. They're actually buying P250s. 4 of them.
Oh yeah.
They have a flash and a smoke. Let's see if they go for the A main.
Yeah.
Just think if they do the pop flash to forklift, or they do the forklift rush.
I know, we'll look like geniuses.
And
they're
walking. And Sean Garros have a flash. Come on, Sean. I believe. Oh, they just walk. I like this. Just walking out to the left here. Oh, I thought it was walking out.
I think he did as well.
Yeah.
It's like they're gonna get caught though. This is like really unlucky. Well, I think no, it's not unlucky. I think Virtus actually heard them stepping. They had someone forward on mid who actually heard them stepping towards A, and I feel like they understood that the position of Cloud9 was okay. They got quite a bit of money, so that they're probably gonna just rush somewhere like that because it's like a different thing when. And this is like really easy for all of you guys who are like trying to make basic decisions based off of reading economy. There's 2 really obvious situations where you can like read the opponent and what they want to do, assuming that they're not like really like being really retarded or something with their money or with their decisions. So if let's say this is the best situation. If the T's get the bomb down on the pistol round and they lose the round, then they're gonna have like kind of the same money that Cloud9 had in this round. So it's like just not enough money to buy. So if you eco once, you can buy properly the next round, and so you kind of just want a full eco, and because you don't really have anything to work with, just Glocks, you're looking for a bomb plant. You're not that's like kind of the objective, like suicide for the bomb plant, get that extra 800 for everyone. But if it's like So you got to worry about the rush, basically, is what I'm saying. If you know that that's the situation, worry about them hitting hard with a rush. So you got to like position yourself accordingly, and that's what you're looking for. But if they didn't get the bomb down, then they have to eco 2 times in a row anyway, and they'll always have like a bit of money to spend. So this is why like you see people getting you see them getting the armor and the CZ because right afterwards, because that's the point where you can really cripple the economy if you get a round that goes well for you, as well as the fact that you have this situation where you're going to have that amount of money spare anyways after you eco twice. So why not just get it in when it counts? So this is one of those spots, and I think Virtus read it really well.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, like, Semphis walking out of the smoke kind of might look stupid, but the thing is, like, they had eco, so he can take risks. Plus, a lot of teams just throw the smoke towards aiming a bit too short and like a bit to the right. And this is a tip for everyone that wants to get easy frags on either matchmaking, face it, or whatever. Like, if you see them throwing that smoke a bit too short, you can actually walk out, like, just look at the overview, and you can just control yourself and see yourself walking to the forklift, and the guy on site like might actually not even see you. So you can just walk out forklift, go around him site, and just win the round from there.
Yeah, especially as like you said, usually if someone's put on A alone, well, usually someone can be on A alone. That's fairly common, and the kind of blind spot to him is actually going to be if you get past like onto forklift like quite quickly. Like he if he's like looking into main from like the quad boxes, obviously like the red container and the little barrels or whatever they are on the stack, like next to that kind of blocks his vision towards forklift. So that if you actually can get past that angle without being detected, it's kind of sick. And
Yeah,
Unfortunately for Cloud9, that wasn't the case because I just read it pretty well.
Let's go to the next round.
I'm on 8 seconds.
3 seconds.
Okay, 7. I'm just going 4, 3,
Okay, I started.
2, 1, and they're off.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we get another buy, and they have like a couple Molotovs, all that good stuff. Molotovs are really good on the T side on this map.
Yeah, you can Molotov vents. There's a lot of back of sight on A. There's a lot of positions. And the Molotov is really strong. Even vent room on B.
And there's one Molotov I really like, which goes to the quad boxes. And if you like aim left of the quad boxes, if a guy was hiding there, he has to jump to the left. So you can get like you basically fire him out and you get some free damage on him or even a kill.
That was a really unnecessary peek there from Neo on B. I don't know if he might have thought the smoke landed in a different way because it looked like he was kind of surprised that he could see him there.
And we just saw like Taz move into A main there. I think he got a pop flash from Bialy to like PK main, and this is something that needs to be talked about more. Is that when you're behind, like you lose a player, you got to try to make up for that somehow. You got to try to get the advantage back, and we're seeing now that Cloud9 are going to be able to take the B site pretty easily here. But I do like if we go back a little bit, I do like the fact that Virtus.pro were proactive in saying, okay, they took out a player. We can't just sit back on the sites. We have to actually, to get the advantage back in this round, we have to try to find out what they're doing. So they go like, okay, what's the easiest way to do that? Okay, pop flash into A main, and then that's like pretty safe to do, because if you just look down A main, you're pretty much gonna see what's up. If there's nobody there, that's actually like a really big tell, and that's I think that's the easiest thing that carries the least risk information wise to then try to like position yourselves better.
Yeah, I agree. Like as soon as someone dies, you just have to gain some ground, gain some information, because you have to take a risk, and you want to do a calculated risk. Like they're not in B storage or whatever, and you can just go for the other side.
And this is like a really huge concept as well, because this is like a concept that is in Counter-Strike on like every single level. Like Counter-Strike is all about having the advantage, like in every single situation. And so you can't just let a team have an advantage, because you get to the situation where, okay, they're now this much more likely to win a round. Well, you can't just know that and be like, okay, I'm fine with that. You gotta try to create a situation where it's like, okay, now they've taken down a player. Okay, we're gonna gain this position. That's gonna allow us as CTs to have a better understanding of what they're doing. So our setup can be stronger. Our response time can be quicker. So that now our chance to win the round goes up, and is not looking very, very terrible all of a sudden. Or similarly, if you're a terrorist. If you're the terrorists, this principle works in a similar way, where like, let's say you're pushing middle, you always set up for the trade frags, because you know that like if you go forwards and a guy dies, that cost is so valuable because you gain that position, and that position is going to make you have a bigger chance to win the round, and having that position is more important than that guy's life. You can easily trade that. And this is like so important to understand, so that you can always make sure that you're like ahead of your opponents.
Yeah, Fnatic is like by far the best team like in the world doing this. You can see it's like as soon as somebody dies in their team, like you can see Pronax. I guess it's Pronax calling. Like they just do something actively. Like they die an enter frag on Inferno as CT. Like let's say JW would try to take some peek and he just dies. They don't just like fall back to defensive positions. Like they go 3B, try to push banana, leave one guy at A. They like try these different things, because they know if they just let the terrorists have the map after they die one player and just play defensive, there's just like no way they're gonna win.
I think is there anything else you want to talk about in this round?
No, this round was actually kind of uninteresting, to be honest. Because
let's
go to the next one.
Okay. All right, where you at?
10 seconds.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Is that I think that's the first AWP we're seeing on Virtus, and it puts them in a situation where their bank is in a situation where it's broken. Actually, this is a hugely important round. We can see that neither team has any money, so this is a pretty important one, and we should see that fact kind of reflected in how the teams actually play it as well.
Yeah, like the biggest thing you can do with an AWP on this map is obviously just to peek the boost. See Pasha pick the boost, going back to A. It's a good decision by him.
Actually, let's pause real quick. Okay, so Virtus Pro pretty much given up middle, and they're playing 2 on the bomb site. So if we just think about, let's say, Cloud9's position, and any professional team's position, we already know that Cloud9 is a team that like heavily researches their opponents, as they should. I mean, it should be no surprise, we shouldn't even have to mention it, just only to consider it. But they do research their opponents a lot. Virtus Pro, also being a professional team, they don't just play this map in one way, and we've seen a multitude of approaches from them already. This round, I pointed out that it's like a very bad round for both teams to lose, because it's at a point where the control of the match can be taken away from one of the teams and given to the one that wins
the
this round.
economic advantage, exactly.
And so now, like, if we just think about that, Virtus Pro, they've kind of given up middle, so they don't have like a very proactive approach. In their setup now, it's very reactive. They've got 2 on the bomb site on B, like in this like weird like Snax and Neo. Like Snax is nowhere near the vent right now. He's just sitting on B with Neo, and Neo's in like headshot. Snax is on the site. So basically, their rotation time is like massive. It's like the worst possible rotation time to the A site that they could have. And the only way that you can justify that is if you're playing like a heavy defense on the A site and giving up middle, and that's kind of what they've done here. And that's an interesting way to play it.
Yeah, it's a big risk. Like, but that's the thing about the maps in CS. There shouldn't be like an optimal way of playing. You always have to take some risks, and we see them. Like if Cloud9 just walks out mid and take over mid, this is obviously kind of bad for Virtus, and we actually see that's what they're doing. Like it's a worth like risk taking though from Virtus. You can't be right every time.
I do like it. I mean, what they're also saying with these setups is that Neo and Snax, they're not getting help. Like this is like we saw before. Neo's like, okay, I'm on the site, I'm gonna delay. No, this is about them getting like 3 or 4 frags. Basically, that's what they have to do. If B does get attacked, so that's a really interesting way to play this. And do you think it's reflected on the fact that, like, do you think they're just throwing it in just because they haven't done it yet and just keeping Cloud9 on their toes, or do you think that it's because this is like a really risky round and they feel like this is a safer way to play?
I don't know. It might be because of Cloud9 just got destroyed when they went mid last time, so they might just ignore mid a little bit. But I don't know. To be honest, I really don't like that setup. Like I like their other setups a lot more, because as you said, the rotation from B is just like it just takes too long.
It is one of those things where, like, there are these 2 arguments where, okay, do you just want to keep mixing things up to keep the opponents on their toes, or, and by the way, this is almost like the LDLC versus the Titan kind of argument before, or even replace Titan with Fnatic, like, or do you just want to do like one thing like really, really well? Like, do you just want, because in this situation, there are parts of this map, the way the architecture is on this map, where this like one play that like Threat's talking about that he prefers is really strong. Like that's just really strong. And so it's that situation where you weigh up, okay, do I go for the option where I just keep my opponents on their toes and keep them guessing, or do I just play the setup that maybe they kind of expect, but it's really strong? Like, I mean, that's the kind of 2 things here at play.
Yeah, exactly. Like you want to keep your opponents guessing, but at the same time, I think even Virtus know that setup isn't like as strong as their other setups. It's like, of course, if they go B, it's obviously a really strong setup, but like even A is really weak. Like defending A with only 2 people is like very, very hard. Like usually the hardest part about taking A on this map is you have this fight versus like 2 players defending A, and the rotation is usually so fast from mid and from C to spawn with the car over there. So like you like get caught when you just like have gotten an aim duel. But if they have 2 guys that far back onto B, like the terrorist, let's say they trade 2 for 2 on the A site, they can just go for the plant safely, and the only CT player that's there is the guy who defended mid.
It's a pretty interesting thing to think about, and it's once you start thinking about the game this way, like watching pro level matches becomes so much more interesting because you like clock on to the setups very quickly, and you kind of like quickly are able to assess, here's the strength here, here's the weakness here, and then they can like invest you. This is like what you have to do as a commentator. You have to like invest the audience by like seeing this stuff, and then say, and it's like we were saying before, you know, it'd be really cool if you did the pop flash here. That's like really strong with what they have, and so then if you see it, like you're worrying for the other team that's going to happen, and you're hoping to see it at the same time. Like there's all these things when you can start to predict what will happen based on just seeing like a cursory glance. You're like, okay, this is strong, this is weak. It makes the game much more interesting to watch. And so we like play out the rest of the round. You ready?
Yeah, let's go. Or
3, 2,
where are you paused?
I'm paused at 1:14.
Oh yeah, I actually looked at the round after.
Oh my god, spoilers. I'm gonna unpause.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
By the way, like since I have to be at the gym in like it's from 30 minutes from now, just so you know.
Oh yeah, I was thinking we could wrap it up after the next round because that way it's like an hour long as well. So that's like
we don't have to do an entire half. Like
no, absolutely.
Just a taste. Just give it. Like put it on Reddit and see what people think. Yeah, and for everybody watching, just give us a ton of criticism. That's what we want.
Yeah, this is going to be like a really, really kind of... It's going to be very bare bones at first. Like we have obviously, like we both can talk about the game. It's going to be about how we put everything together. Like what's the best format. But this is like so cool for me because I do this stuff anyway. But it's so much nicer to do it with somebody like Björn who like also can talk about the game. Because it's just like, even if we like agree on most things, which usually happens, it just helps the learning process like for me so much, and it makes it more fun.
Yeah.
Like I actually am like looking forward to like demos. Like watching demos is like, it's like, oh cool, I learned some stuff. That's great. But at the same time, it's like, well, I don't know. It's just not that exciting. I don't know. It's just much more engaging with somebody else. So
we're talking so much like every round. It's like 10 minutes. We just find a really interesting concept and just go on about it.
I know, that's why this should be a podcast. Anyway, I'm on 1:45 on the next round. I skipped the freeze time on 1:45.
Yeah, I can go there. I'm 1:44, so we can go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So pistols, yay. So this is another one of those spots. Actually, with this a setup like this, they actually have a Molotov on Semphis. So let's just pause. Let's pause real quick. Okay, we're paused. Okay, so when I'm casting,
guess. We're just gonna throw it.
Exactly. Like when I'm casting, it's like you see a Molotov, you see just like you see 4 grenades, right? There has to be a plan. There has to be a plan. They have to be like, this grenade goes here, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. So Molotov. I think we've already seen like kind of where they're moving, so it might be a bit of a tell, but. Let's just like theory craft a little bit. When you have one Molotov, there's 2 uses for one Molotov that I can think of as the most 2 effective uses for a Molotov. I want you to tell me what you think.
Yeah, I think we're gonna disagree, so this might be interesting.
Yeah.
So, you go first.
You first.
I go first. Like most people, when they go A with the Molotov, they will be like, "I'm gonna throw it back of sight, so we can ignore back of sight." But that position is like, it's really not that strong. With the position that's like really annoying, but because it's like you get so many crossfires from it. I don't know if you can write this on the like show them now on the overview. It's like that corner next to the door, like not the sight boxes.
Yeah.
Because
I know what you mean.
Exactly where Bial is standing right now. Actually,
you can like smoke inside Squeaky or something, which it actually covers that corner. That's really weird. Have you seen that before? Like if you smoke in the corner of the door.
Yeah.
It smokes that position.
Yeah,
it's super weird. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. Like, and just to explain why that position is like more annoying than back of sight is because if you show yourself from back of sight, you can be spotted from A main, and like that's a huge difference because let's say you're playing that position. Everybody knows this. Like you're playing back of sight on Cash, and you want to peek, and you're playing like really good AK players. And if they're like waiting for you in A main, they are going to kill you. But the thing that you can do here, you can like cut off the, as we can see Bealdi now looking, you can't go to forklift. And if you go to forklift as a terrorist, you want to like look towards the forklift because someone can be behind there. So there's two angles at the same time. And it's like that position is just so strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if Semphis threw his Molotov here. Or at least he should throw it here if they go A.
So into Biali's position, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you want the Molotov to go. So the two places that I think the Molotov, if you have like a single Molotov, like the most effective use of a single Molotov with no support grenades, either it's like, ignoring like what's happening in this round, either it's you throw it to vents, because if you throw it to vents, it like has such a huge impact on your ability to eliminate like positions to take middle, because then all you have to worry about is like the guys who go boost obviously is the long range, but also the close range, but that you don't never have to worry about someone peeking in and out those vents, and that's like a really dangerous, the guy that can be in there. So that's like a really good use if you have like one Molotov to like help a mid take. But also, yeah, I also agree, like the position you're talking about is the other place that I'd like to put it, because it like you pretty much covered the points like pretty well.
Yeah, why that position is so good.
I mean, there is some, like, it depends on the round. It depends what you're doing. Like, I think you can use a different position for the Molotov. Like, there's a way to throw the Molotov. It like hits this like white board and it bounces like behind, but to kind of to the right of the quad boxes, and that's actually like really nice if you're like playing like a picking round, because it's you're not worried about that guy who's in Biali's position here on a picking round. You're worried about the guy who's on quad boxes as one of the positions. There's like many angles on the right, and that's like a really annoying position. But you can kind of open up the angle for the Molotov from much further away, like quite safely, so you don't expose yourself to that angle. So it can kind of land to the right, and then that puts the flames kind of to the corner. So that's going to make him jump out towards the red container on the site. And if you hold that angle after throwing that Molotov, then he's going to come past your crosshair. There's been so many rounds where I've done that one Molotov and just like opened up the A round for us because the guy jumps there and you get the frag. But yeah, when you're rushing, I think like Threat's like 100% like correct here in his kind of analysis of how that should work.
There actually is one more thing that I can like about this position. Like, let's say you spray down one or two, you have to reload, and you just put yourself in the corner, like Biali just walks to the left here, and the thing is there, you can actually have a teammate covering you from the barrels. Like, let's say someone go out from door and try to kill you here. The guy from the barrels can actually like see them first, if you know what I mean. It just makes this position even safer. Like, even if they get you when you're reloading, chances are that your teammates might be able to trade fast from barrels on them as well.
And he can peek that without being open to the angle from the door as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like really a safe peek. There's actually a lot of setups like that aren't used that much, but usually Virtus are actually one of the teams that finds these really nice crossfire setups where they where you like it's a bit more elaborate. Like, I think teams are very hungry for just trying to just get the frags, and they don't rely enough on some of the more kind of creative crossfire setups, because that is like what Threat just described. That is just like this quite a simple crossfire setup. Like they're going for Biali, but he's in this like really nice position far away. They're not ever like their focus is not the guy on toxic barrels, ever. The problem is that in this situation is that it's very likely if they're pushing the site, the toxic barrels will get smoked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So maybe I'm talking some bollocks. So that's like not useful at all. But
let's see where he throws it. Now I'm curious.
Oh my god.
1, 2, 3, go. Follow Xemphis. Oh my god.
Oh, he's gonna die before he gets to throw it. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Oh, what?
That makes no sense.
No, exactly, because the area there is so wide, so you can like just go like further back, and the like Molotov does absolutely nothing.
But the weird thing is that like that position as well. If he's like, okay, can we just pause real quick? So okay, so that there's many reasons why I think that's like really weird. So I already said that I think if you're gonna try to pressure mid, that the Molotov should go in the vents, and the reason is because the spot that he just threw the Molotov to is a spot like the Molotov is supposed to eliminate one of the positions someone could be peeking you from at the same time as someone peeking you from somewhere else. The position he threw the Molotov is like we saw that he was on the boost, so the first like place he has to worry about is like very close to T main. Like, is there someone close to T main outside the vents? Like, he has to worry about that position. But he never has to worry about that position. He can never get peeked from there. Maybe if his teammates are going out, but we can see that he's doing it alone. So he's not even having to cover that position for his teammates. And when he can take that position like by itself, like kind of isolated. So or he can always control that angle. Like, he can always control that angle. They can never get an angle onto him, the guy that's there. So that I find that to be really weird.
Yeah, plus it's a wide area. You can't use Molotov in wide areas. It's like throwing a Molotov in the middle of mid. Like, I Molotov middle. And it's like the small fire in the middle of mid. It's like, what?
Alright, so now that Xemphis is like really embarrassed, let's like continue. Yeah. It's so quiet now. The awkward silence following the Molotov. So like, okay, this is like a really weird round. This round makes very little sense to me. Are you having the same feelings?
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to analyze it.
Because the thing is that we can analyze from like what they had to work with, like the resources they had to work with in this round. Because they actually had some really interesting options. Because they had the holy Molotov, like the single Molotov that we spent like 10 minutes talking about, and then he like throws it somewhere completely like random.
And we look like fools. And Xemphis looks like a fool. Everybody looks like a fool.
All right, ladies and gents. Well, I mean, as you can see, it ended a little abruptly, but Fred had to go at short notice. So, well, that was the pilot episode. We wanted to take it quite, loosely and just go with the flow a little bit and just see how things turned out. And you guys be the judge. Let us know what you think so we can improve it. And I look forward to hearing all of your thoughts. Hope you enjoyed the ramblings of both Threat and I. And I will see you for the next time, as I believe Threat is definitely quite stoked, as am I, to do another one. So until then, check out my YouTube channel for more content similar to this of the analytical nature in CSGO. And thanks for watching. Ciao for now.